Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to talk about a very important component to success in the track, and that's technique and form. An aspect that often gets overlooked is technique. Most people want a quick workout schedule to get faster or top 5 exercises to get faster. In reality, none of that will transfer to the track if you don't optimize the direction of force through proper mechanics. To get started, we must learn what proper mechanics are in the first place. Good form should be striking under your center of mass with a neutral set pelvis, sometimes with a very minimal slight lean. Knees together at touchdown, knee, hips, and ankle joints don't collapse at touchdown. Relaxed upper body, arms aren't fixed at a 90-degree angle but actually open up to almost 180 degrees before ricocheting back to 90 degrees at the back side and front side of the body, and a dorsiflexed foot. Some common mistakes people make that you should look out for are overstriding / leaning too far forward. This places the hamstrings in a very injury-prone position and also causes a lot of unnecessary braking forces, leaving you with a messed up hamstring and trash times. Another mistake is leaning too far back. This is usually done in a false attempt to acquire high knees. It's important to note that everyone has their own biomechanics and two sprinters can look very different. During acceleration, you want most of the energy you're using to go horizontally. A good way to see this is when your hips are projecting horizontally from the blocks. You want to have a big extension causing the most force possible and get the foot down as fast as you can at the same time. You want to push down and under your hips or center of mass. Make sure you're pushing off both feet from the blocks. You don't want to force a bend on your back, which most people commonly do because of the cue stay low. You don't want to have too short of a first step or too long of a first step. The moment you have fully extended from the blocks, you need to attack back. Make sure your shoulders don't come up too quick. The moment they do, it is a sign that horizontal power is diminishing. Make sure that pushing is a result of proper technique. Don't deliberately spend too much time on the ground to produce this effect. Drills are a good way to teach the athlete how these positions feel without overly stressing the body with the intensity of a full-on sprint. Drills are also a very good way to warm up for sprint training. Common drills that are very useful are A marches, A skips, B skips, A switches, alternating fast leg, and high knees. Drills have their upsides, but they also have their downsides. They lack the proper velocities that are obtained during sprinting. Finally comes cueing. During any form of sprinting that is 95% or greater during training, it's important to make sure your technique is good. Figuring out and analyzing what is wrong with your technique and actively trying to improve it while sprinting at these intensities. Another component is competing during training and making sure your form doesn't break down due to the increased pressure to win. Mastering how to compete and having good form is the final and most difficult out of all of these. Remember, practice makes perfect, so finding a friend or training partner that is at your level or greater would be a great addition to your training arsenal. As an athlete, it's important to figure out what type of sprinter you are and how you can bring the most out of yourself. Are you a stride length based sprinter or a frequency type sprinter? Are you a taller sprinter or a shorter sprinter? How long is your torso in relation to your leg length? These are all factors that can influence what type of sprinter you are. Another thing to keep in mind is what type of cues work for you. A good example of this would be the cue stay low. For a lot of people it might work, but for others it might not. When some sprinters hear the cue stay low, they apply more horizontal force, causing them to acquire a more natural forward lean, while another sprinter might bend at the hips, causing them to create a false drive phase. It's important to understand the general rules for proper mechanics, but also understand that there are things uniquely different to your sprint style. There is no one style fits all, but there are general rules to look out for. It's not so black and white. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember to always strive to be better and stay planetary.